Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Brianviews. I'm your host, Brian Henderson. In today's episode of Brianviews, the issue is the United States military's presence in third world countries. Now, I was surfing through the social media the other day, and there was an incident that transpired on August the 6th, and the incident happened in Kabul, Afghanistan. This incident, this skirmish was between the Afghan rebels and troops of NATO, NATO. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the term NATO stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now, this North Atlantic Treaty Organization consists of 28 nations that are part of the Allied forces. These allied nations, which also comprise the United Nations, the UN. Now, in this conflict that took place August the 6th, there was a U.S. Major General who was KIA. Major General Harold Green was KIA, and he was the highest ranking military official to be KIA since the Vietnam conflict. Now, this brings me to the issue at hand. Is the United States military presence, their continued military presence in Afghanistan or other countries in the Middle East, simply to democratize these nations? This is the question. This is the question that has been intellectualized perhaps since the 9/11 attacks. The U.S. military forces were deployed to the Middle East, primarily Afghanistan and Iraq, after 9/11 for the Islamic terrorists purportedly orchestrating these hits on targets in the United States as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Once again, I'll ask this question. Is the U.S. military's presence simply in response to the terrorist attacks and to democratize these nations? Or is there some type of covert or clandestine operation? One must ask themselves questions. They were deployed to the Middle East to attack those who were responsible for the terrorist attacks. Now, since these terrorist attacks, and since Operation Iraqi Freedom, the targets have been neutralized. One target being Osama bin Laden, and the other target being the dictator of Iraq. Both targets have been neutralized, but yet there's still strong military presence there in Afghanistan. The United States military, and this is based off facts, it is a well-established fact that the United States military is actually guarding the poppy fields, the poppy plants in Afghanistan. Afghanistan being the world's, one of the world's top producers of the poppy plant. So what is the poppy plant, you may ask? Well, the poppy plant is what produces opium. Now, what is opium? Okay, opium is a narcotic that is sold on the streets of urban cities and has been sold on the streets of urban cities for decades, and contributes in part to the incessantly high homicide rates that are narcotics related. Now, you may ask yourself this question. Isn't the DEA an organization that was enacted to put down narcotic sales in the United States? Wasn't it enacted to put down the leaders of narcotics cartels? Well, then why would they be guarding poppy plants, which is used to manufacture opium, which in turn will be put on ships and delivered to the United States in cargo and distributed and dispersed throughout the United States to these large cartels, in turn given to street level dealers, and contributing to the escalation in narcotic sales as well as drug related homicides? Why? Why would they be guarding poppy plants that produce opium? If the United States government actually enacted or actually deployed the DEA to put down narcotics cartels and to neutralize narcotic sales in the streets of America, because the United States government is protecting their interests in Afghanistan. It's all about capitalism. It's about commerce and it's about capitalism. Everything else is secondary. Freedom, liberty, justice for all, patriotism, slogans is all secondary to capitalism. This information I'm giving to you is based on facts. This isn't opinionated. This is based on facts. Certain shows that I do may be based on opinions, although to a large degree they too are based on facts. But this particular show right here is based strictly on facts, and the fact is they're guarding their interest. If you don't believe me, you can go on social media or you can go on the internet and you can find out for yourself firsthand in black and white. See, it's easy to dispute what I'm saying, but when you see it in black and white that the United States military is guarding these poppy plants which manufacture opium to be dispersed on these cargo ships and taken to the United States and distributed to the urban areas and contributing to the further debilitation and degeneration of the black communities with narcotic sales, and you see it in black and white, it's hard to argue this. How do they let these ships come into the United States when they have the United States Coast Guard? How do they let these cargo ships come in with all of these narcotics and opium when they have all of these organizations like the DEA, which were deployed to put down narcotic sales and to stop drug trafficking? This is the question that you have to ask yourself as a United States citizen, be it patriot or being skeptic or just being unaware. Ask yourself this question. I presented the facts to you. Now you do the research. That's all I have on today's episode of Brianviews. I hope that you were enlightened by the show, and as I just mentioned, facts that I present on my shows, I don't need for you to take it, from face value. When I'm giving you the information, do the research. Do the research and you'll find out that it's based off of facts. If you have any ideas for any future shows that you would like to see me cover, please feel free to post it on my page, and I will put forth every effort to present to you the show that you posted. But until then, hope that you were enlightened by this show. And until next time, you've been tuned in to Brianviews. I'm your host, Brian Henderson, and I'm out.